Welcome to our another lesson of Canva. In this lesson, we are going to learn about graphic design. In our previous lesson, we learned about the designing basics of Canva. So in this lesson, we are going to design with graphics. Now, you might think that in our previous lesson, we've also used elements and stuff. Those are also graphics. But while it is said graphic design, it's going to be a lot more different than how it is on basic designs, okay? But one thing is going to stay the same. It's going to be the 4 key principles, okay? If you've seen our previous lesson, you already know about the 4 key principles, and we're also going to be making more designs in this lesson by using that key principles, which are going to be, balance, alignment, then hierarchy, okay? So a couple of them are going to be a bit different, but I'm going to show you how you will be able to make up your design by using the same methods, by using any of the designs or any of the details which you find in Canva. Okay, so I'm going to do is going to be showing you how it works. So first things first, I'm going to show it to you again, which is going to be starting off with alignment, hierarchy, consistency, and also with balance. Now, there are also going to be a couple of other things which you're going to learn about in this lesson. Now, you can see that I am on my screen of Canva. Now, there are going to be different things over here, including the 4 key principles. There's going to be scaling, rhythm, portion, symmetry, emphasis, pattern, then contrast, space, repetition, movement, and white space. And the other ones are going to be the same, which are the 4 key principles. Now, the first thing we're going to do is going to be making a design by using the same method, but we're going to add up the same things. Now, the first thing we're going to do is going to be starting off with our Instagram post again so that we get a small space or a small page. Now, as we have our small page, what we're going to do is go after elements. Now, I'm going to add only 2 elements, and I'm going to make this design just by using that 2 elements only. But whatever I'm going to do is going to be text and other edits. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to do is search for sun. Okay, now as I already have the sun, I'm going to click on this. This is going to be the sun. And now I want ice cream. Hit on enter, click on see all. Now the first thing I'm going to do is going to be, let's say I'm going to be using maybe this one or maybe this one. It's totally up to you. So the first things first I'm going to do is just use this. Okay, 2 of these and nothing else. If I'm going to need it later on, I'm going to put it later on, but for now I'm going to do is only keep these 2. Now the first thing I'm going to be doing is, let's say I'm going to do is decrease the size. There we go. And I'm going to do is keep it right over here. Now the first things first, I'm going to click on this page and I'm going to do is change the color. Now let's say I'm going to do is use maybe something like, okay, this looks not that bad. Okay, I'm going to use this color. Okay. Now I'm going to do is select whichever color I want because this color looks quite good. If it doesn't look that bad, so I'm going to do is maybe change it a bit more. Okay, looks a lot better. Now the first thing I'm going to be doing is going to be changing out the color. Okay, I'm going to do is make double copies or triple copies. Now I'm going to do is going to be rotating it. But one thing you have to keep in mind is that the other 2, which are over, is going to go at the bottom. So I'm going to do is go after layers. You can see this is the one. So I'm going to do is take this at the bottom. This is the one. I'm going to take this at the bottom. There we go. We have 2 of them. And I'm going to do is keep it right over here. Now, as I've used repetitive method and also aligned them well, you can keep it like this if you want to. But there is going to be another method of how you can do that too. So I'm going to just take this up over here and do is decrease the size. You can see it like this. And the other one, I'm going to do is keep it over here, decrease the size, rotate it a bit. I'm going to do is keep it right around over here. See? Looks quite better, right? I'm going to do is rotate it a bit more. And there we go. Then I'm going to do is change the color, obviously. So I'm going to do is change it over here. Just put this. I'm going to do is instead of that, okay, I'm going to keep it right there, like that. I'm going to do is change this one over here. I'm going to do is maybe keep it to be somewhat pinkish. Okay, or maybe something like this. It's going to be up to you, whichever one you want to use. If you don't want to use any one of those, just make sure to use whichever one you want. There we go. Or if you want chocolate, you can also put chocolate if you want to. So there we go. We have them. And it looks quite good enough, right? I'm going to do is put this one over here. This is going to be over here. There we go. Now make sure that this is a bit above over here. And this should be center of those. At the center of those. Okay, there we go. We have it. Now as we have it, what I'm going to do is going to be increasing the size of this a bit more. Here we go. What I'm going to do is put in my text boxes. Click on text. Then I'm going to do is put in the text box. Now as I have my text box over here, I'm going to do is make sure the upper text or the heading is going to be big. So I'm going to do is going to putting in maybe, let's say, ice cream. Ice cream party. This summer. Okay, let's just put this summer first and then ice cream party. Control C. Let's say Control X. Control V. There we go. I'm going to copy or select all of them. I'm going to do is increase the size. There we go. Now, obviously, it doesn't look good, right? So, obviously, what we're going to do is going to be selecting all of it and change the font. Now, I'm going to do is going to be finding the font, whichever one I want. If you don't find it from over here, we can just find out these over here. Let's say I'm going to do is go off the display, because as this is ice cream, everybody loves a funky look. So I'm going to do is maybe, let's say this one, let's try it out. Okay, not that good. So I'm going to do is maybe, let's try this. Doesn't look bad though. So I'm going to do is select on all of them, and let's just try maybe white. Okay, so I'm going to do select on them. Let's try white. There we go. This summer ice cream party. Okay, as we have it, I'm going to do is take it a bit above over here. I'm going to do is going to be selecting all of them, and I'm going to do is group them up together. Okay, this is not aligned. So let's try to keep it at the center. There we go. It is now at the center of the whole thing. Okay, if it's still not at the center, make sure it is. Okay, a lot more better. Then what we're going to do is going to be putting in a bit of text over here. Okay, not too much, but very small. Whatever you want to Control C. Okay, so I'm going to do select all of them and make sure this is white too at the same time. I'm going to do is decrease the size. There we go. Then you can also change it, not 10, because obviously this is not, not the one. But we can also use another one which we already have under it, 10 summer. Not change all, only one of them should change. This is 10 summers. Now what we're going to do is going to be putting in the same thing underneath. So I'm going to do is going to be clicking on add a text box. Now, let's say this is 10 headline. So what we're going to do is not use the headline. What we're going to do is change it to 10 summer, okay, which we're using right now. So I'm going to do is find out 10 summer. There we go, 10 summers. Now we're going to do is put in which date it's opening up. Let's say this is going to be also January 5th, 2024 at, let's say, 5 p.m. entry time. Let's just try this. There we go. What I'm going to do is put this over here. I'm going to do is select on all of them, Control A, obviously decrease the size. Control A, select on this text first, and make sure to change the color. And you can see by following those, it looks and how good it does look. Now you can also change the color or change the size according to your need. If you want to, I'm going to do is press on Control Z, cancel it up. I'm going to first off ungroup, do is increase the size first. There we go. The size of the ice cream has increased a lot. Center, and this is how it will look like. So just like you saw that just by using two graphic elements, I've added or, made, let's say something else, or made the whole, let's say the whole photo or the whole graphic design. Now let's just try out something very basic. Now, how do you do that? We're not going to be using the same color over here, right? So the first thing we're going to do is going to be using maybe, a very subtle, a very small element, but we're going to use other elements without the graphic, okay? I mean, it's going to be the graphic, but not, certain substances or anything, but we're going to use as just one photo. Let's just say one photo, and others are going to be shapes. And we're going to use it maybe as a logo, or maybe as a thumbnail, or maybe you can also use it for branding purposes. It's all up to you. Now, how do I do that? First thing I'm going to do is go off to elements. Now, from elements, I'm going to do is search up for something very basic. Maybe let's search for dotted, maybe square. Okay, let's just dotted shapes. Okay, I'm going to hit on dotted shapes. Click on CL. Now, what do I actually want? Let's say I'm going to do is maybe use this. Okay, I'm going to do is use this. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is going to be selecting on this. I'm going to do is add, we can add a page if you want to. What I'm going to do is maybe keep it around over here. Okay, there we go. Perfect. I'm going to do is make another one right over here. Now, as we have two of them at the same time, now I'm going to do is make sure to use another one. This is going to be a bit better. So I'm going to do is make sure that two of them are now perfectly aligned. There we go. Now, as it is perfectly aligned right now, what I'm going to be doing is going to be, let's say, putting in my element inside of this. And one thing I'm going to do is going to be, keep my text in such a way so that it looks good, somehow good, okay? Now, the first thing I'm going to be doing is, let's say I'm going to put one element inside. What I'm going to do is use this circle over here. There we go, at the center. I'm going to do is maybe put in something aesthetic. Okay, I'm going to search in for aesthetic. Now, from here, I'm going to do is use only one element or one of this, photo to use it as, the main subject. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is going to be finding in something, maybe something like this. We can use that if you want to. we can use it as something like, you know, a DO or something, a branding for something like that. We can also use this, you know, shoe over here and also brand it up just like this. Okay, we're going to use this. Now, as we have it, what I'm going to be doing is going to be, let's say I'm going to do is take this circle over here. I'm going to do is duplicate it. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is going to be clicking on this circle over here. Now, I'm going to do is select on the circle. I'm going to do is edit the image. Now, I'm going to do is slice it up. Now, as I've sliced it up first, as it is torn now, I'm going to press on apply first. Then I'm going to do is going to be removing a couple of parts. I'm going to use click on BG remover. Okay. So when I click on background remover after selecting that, you'll basically see that it is how it will look like. You can also remove certain parts, or you can also keep it just the way it is. It's going to be up to you. Now, I'm going to do is click on position, and I'm going to find out the circle. I'm going to do is delete that part. There we go. Looks quite better, right? Now I'm going to do is you can use other parts too, such as this one underneath if you want to. So I'm going to do is go off to position, obviously underneath. There we go. Looks quite good. I'm going to do is find out or make it a bit bigger. There we go. Now, as we did that, what I'm going to be doing is going to be now putting in our text. Now, how do I put in my text? The first thing I'm going to be doing is clicking on this, click on the color. I'm going to do is select on this and then select on this and find out the exact color for this so that it actually looks good. I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to do is click on this over here, click on this over here, and find out the color which you want. I'm going to do the same thing over here, border style, color, and find it to be something like this, or maybe a black one does look good. So I'm going to click on eyedropper, and I'm going to do is change it to this one. Okay, now I'm going to do is put in my text. I'm going to click on text over here, click on add a text box. Now make sure to use whichever font you want to use. Now what I'm going to do is cut this off. Now I want something which is going to be good, right? Minimal, maybe funky. Okay, we need something funky. So I'm going to do is find something which will look very good with this whole thing as a branding. So I'm going to do is cut this one off too, and let's see whatever there is to offer. We have school. Okay, we're going to go off with school, which is also quite good looking. So I'm going to do is wait for a while until it is done. And after it is done, what we're going to do is select any of the text we want to use. Maybe something else too if you want to use maybe any of the textiles. And if you want, make sure that you have this open and also you are connected to the internet so that you get full functionality. I'm going to do select any one of them. Let's say I'm going to try this. Okay, this one also looks very good. Or we can also use different ones. It's all up to you. You can also use this, Lecware. Okay. Now, even though we have this, we're going to apply our effect later on. You have to go off the effects, and you're going to do is find out this curve, which you can use this to curve up your text. Now, one thing I'm going to do is click on curve first. As you can see it over here, I'm going to do is click on this curve meter, and you can fix it up however you want. Now, first off, make sure you have your text at a certain, position so that it actually looks good from your side. What I'm going to do is find out the ones over here like this. Your text is going to be over here. Okay, this is going to be your text over here. But I'm going to do select on this, click on effects first, and then you have to make sure that this is going to be somewhat like this. And I'm going to do is put this a bit over here. There we go. I'm going to just put in my text over here. Let's say, what can we put? end your sale. Now I'm going to put it another one. But this time, we're going to do is flip it up. We're going to do is make sure that this is somewhat like this. Or we can do something like, you know, what I'm going to do is try flipping it up again like this. But what we're going to do is going to be clicking on this over here. Okay, something like this. See? Looks a lot better, right? I'm going to do select on this text over here. Okay, first off, let's cut up the whole thing. Now let's try it. Discount up to 30%. Now, as we have it over here, there we go. You have it. Discount up to 30%. Looks very good, right? So as we have it, this is how it will look like. And you can also rotate it a bit. Discount up to 30%. And this is how it will look like. If you want to change the color, it's also going to be up to you, whichever color you want to use. Now, from here, you can also select on position, maybe this one, you can see it over here, and change the color. Maybe we can change it to black, or maybe somewhat like this. Okay, we can use this. Okay, this one looks a lot more better. And we're going to do is change this color to, over here, I'm going to use click on maybe, let's say I'm going to do this one. I'm going to do the same thing over on this one. And there we go, which is a very minimalistic and also looks quite good. You can put up a couple of names too. It's going to be up to you. Now let's try something a bit more different. Okay. Now from here, what we're going to do is going to be something, you know, a bit different. But one thing about this is that we're going to be making something by using a lot of elements. Now, if you put a lot of elements, you have to follow hierarchy. Now, when you do hierarchy, it becomes a bit, you know, very, you know, let's say complex. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is going to be adding in a page. Now, when you add in a page, you have to add in a couple of elements. Now, one thing is that you have to either do repetitive method, or either you have to position them or align them in such a way so that it looks good. Okay, now how to do that? First thing I'm going to do is click on elements. I'm going to do is make certain shapes. Okay, first off, let's just take this, you know, square over here, increase the size. I'm going to do is make myself a bottom, you know, let's say I'm going to do is, okay, let's just search for maybe pebbles. Let's say I'm going to use photos now. Now, as we have photos over here, I'm going to use this. Instead of the square, why don't we just use a photo? Now I'm going to do is put it right over here, as we can see over here. Now you can use also different ones, up to you. It's going to be depending on how you work with it. Okay, so I'm going to use find out, maybe if you find an animation one, it's also a lot more better than how it is. Okay, so it's just rest up to you. And if you want to use maybe, you know, a different one such as these ones, you can also use them. Just click on any one of them, and there we go. We have it. It also looks quite good, right? So I'm going to do is keep it right over here. Now, as we have it, now the first thing I'm going to do is going to be putting in certain shapes or certain sections. Now, I'm going to be using the same method, but what we're going to do is going to be duplicating them first. Now, as I've duplicated these, I'm going to do is make sure that these are smaller now. Now, I'm going to do is first off, I don't need it. I'm going to do is click on elements. I'm going to go for all. I'm going to cut this off. Now I'm going to be making a certain sections for each and every element. Now there's going to be text part. There's going to be the same elements. There's going to be maybe more headings, and there's going to be just white spaces. Okay, which helps you up sometimes. So I'm going to do search for shapes. Then on enter, I'm going to do is wait for a while until it opens up. Now I'm going to do is search for it again. Shapes. There we go. I'm going to do is click on this shape over here. And we can make like certain parts like this over here. Then I'm going to do is click on this again. And here I'm going to do is make a part. We're just going to be this or something like this. There we go. Now there are 3 of these parts where we can put elements inside of it. So the first thing I'm going to do is going to be duplicating this, and here I'm going to do is put this element over here. Do is crop it out. There we go. Done. We have cropped that part out. Now I'm going to do is also going to click on this again, and I'm going to do is make sure that this is over here. It should have this type of texture over here, and looks quite good, right? Now, even though we have these elements over here and it still looks good, it's because we still have white spaces in it. Now, what are these white spaces? Obviously, you're going to need some white space when you are working with any of your elements or any of the graphics which you're working on, because it just allows you to breathe. Okay, now I'm going to do is put on text, and here I'm going to do is put this over here. I'm going to do is start off with adding our text or our headings. Now the first thing I'm going to do is going to be removing these. I'm not going to be needing this. I'm going to click on add a text box, and I'm going to do is go back, not school, obviously. I'm going to do is maybe find something geometric or maybe sports, whichever one you feel like is good. So I'm going to do is maybe I'm going to try paragraph or serif. Okay, so I'm going to do is try paragraph first, and here I'm going to do is maybe use this. This looks quite good. So first things first, I'm going to do is put this over here. Okay, as I have it, I'm going to do is first off make sure that this is all grouped up, Control G. And first things first, I'm going to do is reduce the transparency. Okay, there we go, reduce transparency. I'm going to do is select Control G, reduce the transparency. There we go. Now I'm going to do is, okay, first off, let's say Control Z. Okay, ungroup first. I'm going to do is take this over here. I'm going to do is take this and reduce the transparency so that we can see the pebbles. We can like see the pebbles that they are now getting, like blended up, but we need the background. So your paragraph text should be over here. I'm going to do is make another one, keep it under here, and obviously it should be smaller, right? There we go. I'm going to make another one. Make sure that this is over here. There we go. Decrease the size. Make sure this is left aligned. There we go. Text should be over here. What I'm going to do is click on position, arrange to the left. So as we have it, now our texts are over here. What I'm going to do is make sure to copy this over here and put your text over here. If you want to use white, it's up to you. You can also use bold if you want to. Let's say I'm going to use bold over here and also use bold over here and also italic if you want to. And what you can do is also change the color to white. See? Now it just pops up. It just basically pops up. And you have this white space so that you have some space to breathe and also looks quite clean. So you can see that these are the 3 graphic designs which we've made right now. Now just by following the 4 key elements or the 4 key principles and also let's say a couple more steps which we followed. So hope you understood everything about this lesson, and I hope you also understood about how you can follow through the key elements or the key principles so that you can make your own graphic designs, templates, banners, and all of them. So in our next lesson, we are going to learn about how we can make an Instagram post.